Hello, everyone. Welcome to It Really Happened, where we delve into the most incredible true stories from around the globe. Today, we're going underground to relive one of the most gripping survival stories of the 21st century. The miraculous rescue of 33 Chilean miners who were trapped underground for a harrowing 69 days. So, strap in. This is a tale of endurance, hope, and the human spirit. Let's turn back the clock to August 5th, 2010, and start from the beginning, before disaster struck. It began like any other day at the San Jose mine in Chile's Atacama Desert. This desert is one of the driest places on Earth, known for its harsh conditions. The mine was primarily used for extracting gold and copper. That day, 33 miners went to work as usual, unaware that their lives were about to change forever. While drilling deep into the earth, they heard a terrifying rumble and the ground shook. A massive collapse sealed off the mine's entrance, trapping them nearly half a mile beneath the surface. Tons of rock blocked their way out, and they were left in a dark, cramped chamber with limited air and almost no way to communicate with the world above. Imagine being in that situation. The air is thick, the temperature is high, and you're surrounded by solid rock with no clear way out. It was a living nightmare, but these miners were about to embark on a journey of survival that the world would never forget. As the news of the mine collapse spread, the world held its breath. Families of the trapped miners rushed to the site, hoping for a miracle. They set up tents near the mine entrance, creating what would later be called Camp Hope. With little information, they waited anxiously, fearing the worst, but refusing to give up hope. The Chilean government quickly responded by bringing in experts and mining engineers to assess the situation. Media outlets from around the globe started covering the story, and soon it wasn't just Chile that was anxiously awaiting the miners' fate. The whole world was watching, and everyone around the globe was gripped by the developing story. At first, the situation looked grim. The miners had very little food, water, or air. No one even knew if they were alive. Days passed, and rescue efforts were slow. Specialized drilling equipment was needed to try and reach the miners, and no one was certain if they'd make it in time. It was a race against the clock, and time was running out. But despite the fear and uncertainty above ground, something remarkable was happening underground. Below the surface, the 33 miners were battling to survive. It was dark and humid, and the temperature was a stifling 90 degrees Fahrenheit. They had limited food, only a few cans of tuna, a small amount of milk, and some biscuits. Their drinking water came from the mine's storage tanks, but they weren't sure how long it would last them. However, instead of panicking, the miners showed incredible discipline. They organized themselves into a small community. Urzua, the mine foreman, quickly emerged as a leader, assigning roles to everyone. They rationed their food and water carefully, making sure everyone got a fair share. Each person was only allowed a few spoonfuls of food per day, so they could make their supplies last as long as possible. The miners also set up a routine to keep their spirits high. They established a lookout point, held daily meetings, and even organized a schedule to sleep and exercise. One of the miners, Sepulveda, became known for his sense of humor, helping to lift everyone's mood in the darkest moments. Faith played a huge role in keeping their hope alive. The miners prayed together, believing that they would eventually be rescued. But as the days dragged on, they had no idea if the world above had given up on them. For over 2 weeks, the miners were completely cut off from the outside world. But on the 17th day, everything changed. Rescuers on the surface had been drilling exploratory holes, hoping to make contact with the miners. On August 22nd, a drill finally broke through into the chamber where the miners were trapped. The miners quickly tied a note to the drill bit and sent it back up. It read, "Estamos bien en el refugio los 33. This meant, "We are fine in the shelter, the 33 of us." When the note reached the surface, cheers erupted. The miners were alive. This breakthrough marked a turning point in the rescue operation. Now that rescuers knew the miners were alive, they could start sending supplies down through the drill hole. Small tubes, called palomas, Spanish for doves, were used to send food, water, medicine, and letters from the miners' families down to the trapped men. The world rejoiced at the news. From this point forward, the goal shifted from just survival to planning a way to bring the miners back to the surface. While the miners were kept alive with food and water, experts above began working on a complex and dangerous rescue plan. They needed to drill a large enough hole to pull the miners out one by one. But this was no easy task. The mine was unstable, and any mistake could cause another collapse. 3 different drilling teams were brought in from around the world, each with a different method for rescuing the miners. They worked tirelessly, knowing the time was not on their side. As the drilling continued, engineers designed a special capsule called the Phoenix, which would be used to lift the miners to safety. The capsule was narrow and just big enough for one person to fit inside. It had oxygen and communication equipment in case the ride to the surface took longer than expected. After weeks of drilling, the rescue hole was finally completed on October 9th. The world held its breath as the rescue mission began. On October 13th, the first miner, Florencio Avalos, was strapped into the Phoenix capsule and slowly lifted toward the surface. Millions of people watched live as the capsule emerged from the mine, greeted by cheers, tears, and overwhelming joy. Florencio had been underground for 69 days. One by one, the remaining 32 miners were brought up from the depths. Each miner's return was a moment of celebration, with families and rescuers cheering and embracing the men who had survived one of the most dangerous situations imaginable. Luis Urzua, the foreman and leader of the group, was the last to be rescued. He made sure that every man under his watch was brought to safety before he himself stepped into the Phoenix. His leadership and bravery were key to the miners' survival. In total, the rescue took nearly 24 hours, but in the end, all 33 miners were saved. It was an extraordinary moment in history, a true testament to human resilience and cooperation. After their rescue, the miners became national heroes in Chile and were celebrated around the world. They were invited to meet world leaders, appeared on television shows, and even received movie and book deals. However, the ordeal took a toll on many of them. Some suffered from physical and psychological problems such as nightmares, anxiety, and difficulty adjusting to life after their experience. The Chilean government and other organizations provided support and counseling to help the miners and their families recover. The incident also raised important questions about mining safety. Many called for stronger regulations and better working conditions for miners, so that accidents like this could be prevented in the future. The story of the Chilean miners is one that will never be forgotten. It has been documented in films, books, and even museums. A movie titled The 33, starring Antonio Banderas, was released in 2015 and tells the story of the miners' incredible journey. Today, the San Jose mine remains closed, but the miners' story continues to inspire people all over the world. The rescue of the Chilean miners is more than just a story of survival. It's a powerful example of what people can achieve when they work together. The bravery of the miners, the dedication of the rescuers, and the support from around the world all played a part in this incredible event. This real-life tale teaches us that even in the most challenging circumstances, we can triumph against all odds. What's the most inspiring rescue story you know? Share with us in the comments below. If you're moved by this story that brought the world together, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell for more amazing true accounts in history. Until next time, keep the spirit of hope alive.